Have you ever smiled in front of everyone, but cried when you were finally alone? Have you ever stared at the ceiling at night, wondering if anyone truly understands what you're carrying? Maybe you've been praying, but nothing seems to change. Maybe you've worked hard, but life keeps pushing you back. Maybe people left. Maybe someone you trusted broke your heart. Maybe you're exhausted from pretending you're okay. If that's you, don't leave this message yet, because I truly believe this isn't an accident. God wanted these words to reach you today. Take a slow breath. You don't have to be strong for the next few minutes. You don't have to pretend. Jesus already knows everything you're trying so hard to hide. He knows the tears you've never shown anyone. He knows the silent prayers you've whispered into your pillow. He knows the anxiety that wakes you up before the alarm. He knows the disappointment you've carried for months, maybe even years. And despite knowing all of it, He still loves you. Not because you're perfect, not because you've done everything right, but because you are His child. Sometimes we think God has forgotten us because life becomes quiet. But silence is not abandonment. Think about a seed. When a seed is buried underground, it looks like the end. Everything is dark. Everything feels lonely. Nothing seems to happen. But underneath the soil, God is preparing new life. Maybe you're not being buried. Maybe you're being planted. Your breakthrough often begins in places that look like failure. Joseph was betrayed before he became a leader. David fought giants before he wore a crown. Peter failed before he became bold. Even Jesus carried a cross before the resurrection morning. Pain was never the final chapter, and it isn't yours either. Maybe today your heart feels heavy because you keep asking, Jesus, where are you? Listen carefully. He's closer than your next breath. Even when you can't feel Him, He is working. Even when doors close, He is protecting you from doors that would have hurt you later. Even when people walk away, sometimes God removes those who would stop you from becoming who He created you to be. I know waiting is painful. Waiting can make you question everything. It can make you wonder if your prayers matter. But remember, God has never been late. Not once. His timing may confuse us, but it has never failed. Maybe today you're carrying guilt. You keep remembering your mistakes. You think, Jesus couldn't possibly forgive someone like me. But that's exactly why He came. Jesus didn't come for perfect people. He came for broken people. People who failed. People who fell. People who felt unworthy. If shame keeps telling you that you're too far gone, remember the cross. The cross says, you're loved more than you know. The cross says, your past doesn't have the final word. The cross says, come home. Maybe you're tired. Not physically, emotionally. You're tired of hoping, tired of trying, tired of pretending. If that's you, let Jesus carry what you've been trying to carry alone. You were never meant to hold the whole world on your shoulders. That's why Jesus says, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Not maybe, not someday. He promises rest. Perhaps today you don't need another motivational speech. You need His presence, because His presence changes fear into peace. His presence changes anxiety into hope. His presence changes weakness into strength. And here's something beautiful. The chapters you're crying through today may become the testimony that helps someone else tomorrow. Your scars may become someone else's hope. Nothing you've suffered is wasted in God's hands. He can turn ashes into beauty. He can turn mourning into joy. He can rebuild what life has destroyed. So don't quit. Not today. Don't believe the lie that your story is over. God is still writing. The page you're on is not the final chapter. Your miracle may be closer than you think. One prayer, one opportunity, one unexpected phone call, one new beginning. God can change everything in a single moment. But even before He changes your situation, He wants to change your heart. Because peace doesn't come from perfect circumstances. Peace comes from trusting the one who holds tomorrow. Right now, whatever you're facing, whisper this in your heart. Jesus, I'm tired. I'm scared. I'm hurting. But today, I choose to trust you. Hold my hand when I feel weak. Give me peace when anxiety rises. Give me hope when I can't see tomorrow. Help me forgive. Help me believe again. Let me one step at a time. and remind me every day that I am never alone. Amen. Before you leave, remember this. If nobody told you today that you're valuable, Jesus already proved it. He stretched out his arms on the cross because you were worth saving. You are loved. You are seen. You are not forgotten. And no matter how dark tonight feels, morning is coming. Keep walking with Jesus, because the same God who brought you this far will never leave you before your breakthrough. God bless you. Before you go any further, can I ask you something? What if the reason you're listening right now isn't because you found this message? What if this message found you? Think about it. Out of all the videos, all the voices, and all the distractions in the world, somehow you're here. Maybe your heart has been searching for hope without even realizing it. Maybe you've been asking questions you were too afraid to say out loud. Jesus, do you still hear me? Have you forgotten about me? Will my life ever change? If those questions have been living inside your heart, I want you to know something. God isn't offended by honest questions. He would rather hear your honest heart than empty words. You don't have to impress him. You don't have to pretend your faith is perfect. Bring him your fears. Bring him your doubts. Bring him your brokenness. Because Jesus has never turned away someone who came to him sincerely. Sometimes we imagine faith means never feeling afraid. But that's not true. Real faith often means trusting God while you're still afraid. It means taking one more step when you can't see the whole road. It means believing that God is still writing your story, even when the current chapter feels painful. Maybe today you're comparing your life to everyone else's. You open social media and see smiling faces, happy families, successful careers, beautiful vacations. Meanwhile, you're wondering how you're going to make it through another day. Here's something you need to remember. People usually share their highlights. God sees the whole story. He knows the battles that never make it onto a screen. He knows the silent tears hidden behind every smile. So stop measuring your life by someone else's timeline. God has a unique path for you. Your journey doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be meaningful. Sometimes God slows you down because he's protecting you from rushing into something that isn't meant for you. Waiting isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's preparation. Think about an artist creating a masterpiece. At first, the canvas may look messy. The colors don't seem to make sense. The brushstrokes appear random. But the artist already sees the finished picture. In the same way, God sees what you cannot. What feels confusing today may become beautiful tomorrow. There may be days when you wake up feeling emotionally empty. You pray, but you don't feel anything. You worship, but your heart still feels heavy. Don't mistake feelings for God's presence. God is with you even when your emotions can't feel him. The sun doesn't disappear just because clouds cover the sky. And God doesn't leave just because life becomes difficult. His love isn't based on your emotions. His love is constant. His love doesn't rise and fall with your circumstances. It remains forever. Maybe someone hurt you deeply. Maybe the words they spoke still echo in your mind. Maybe they told you that you weren't enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough. But people don't decide your value. Jesus already did. Your worth wasn't determined by someone's opinion. It was revealed by his sacrifice. The cross says you're loved. The empty tomb says there's hope. No person has the authority to cancel what God has spoken over your life. Maybe you failed recently. Maybe you made a mistake that still haunts you. Listen carefully. Failure is an event. It is not your identity. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. Yet Jesus still chose him. Thomas doubted. Yet Jesus still welcomed him. The woman caught in sin expected condemnation. Instead, she found mercy. That's who Jesus is. He doesn't erase people because they've fallen. He restores them. Maybe you're afraid of starting again. Maybe life knocked you down so many times that you're scared to hope. But every sunrise is proof that God believes in new beginnings. Every morning whispers the same message. I'm not finished yet, and neither is God. You may not have all the answers today. That's okay. You don't need to know everything. You only need to know the one who holds everything. Jesus has never asked you to carry tomorrow. He only asks you to trust him today. One step, one prayer, one moment at a time. Sometimes the strongest prayer is simply, Jesus, help me. And that's enough. Because he already knows the words you cannot say. Have you ever noticed how storms change people? They teach us what comfort never could. Storms reveal what truly matters. Storms remind us that God is our shelter. Without storms, we might never discover how faithful he really is. Maybe this season feels unfair. Maybe you're asking, why me? We often want explanations. But sometimes God gives us his presence instead. And his presence is greater than every explanation.